Welcome to Penalty Box Radio live on 102.5 The Game. I am your host, Ann Kimmel. Of course, I am usually joined by co-host Sean Smith, but tonight, friends, I am happy to welcome in our special guest co-host, Jack Williams. Jack is the site editor and beat reporter covering the Nashville Predators for the Hockey News. Of course, Jack covers a myriad of sports here across Middle Tennessee, professional, college, high school level. So I appreciate you jumping in, Jack. I know you are usually sportsing.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you jumping in and taking time to come on and talk Preds with us.
Yeah, no, there's been a lot of sportsing lately, to say the least, from high school basketball to whatever Vanderbilt's doing. I was covering the U.S. women's national team on Sunday, and that was a blast. And then we went into Preds land all this week. It's been just Preds. All week. It's been maddening.
Maddening. And you know what, friends? If you are just tuning in and want to catch up, we have the breaking news here at 102.5 The Game. Nick Blakenburg traded to the Colorado Avalanche for a 2027, I believe, fifth round pick. This news just dropped as we were getting ready to come on the show. He joins Michael McCarron and Cole Smith as players. The Predators have moved out at this point in the trade deadline. So let's just dive right into the Nick Blakenburg, because here is what's real. There is going to be a segment of the Predators fan base doing the Nancy Kerrigan, why? Because here's what's real. Nick Blakenburg, you just have to love him as a human being. And also, he's been a really interesting piece for the Predators. So first impression, first response, fresh off the news. What do you think about this Nick Blakenburg move?
I mean, from the perspective that you just said of the whole why of it all, I mean, as a guy who's 5'6" myself and seeing a guy from the back end who just works his butt off every game, who has been the guy that needed to step up this year. I don't know if he was the one that was going to be expected to step up this year, but he has been massive this year, just an absolute workhorse. And I'm looking at this trade a little bit, and I kind of look at it, I'm like, you really couldn't get more for this? It was a 2027 fifth round, correct? I mean, could this not get packaged a little bit more, especially with the season that Blakenburg's had and the impact that he's had a little bit more? I understand he's a shorter guy. I understand the Predators are not the greatest team in the league right now, but he has such an impact on this defense that has been really not great this year. You have Roman Josi, who has just been insane this year. Nick Blakenburg has been right there, and a lot of has really fallen off past that. And my whole question mark with it is, like, really, honestly, it surprised me that they couldn't get more for that. Like,
yes.
You know?
Or I'm a little bit surprised that if that's the deal on the table, you wouldn't say, you know what? We may just stick with Nick Blakenburg here for a fifth round pick. And I like what you're saying about Blakenburg, because this is kind of an underdog story. And he is, of course, a UFA. Mm-hmm. So his contract expires at the end of this year, which typically means at the trade deadline, those are the people teams are sniffing around if they're just looking for a rental. And my secret hope was that the GMs were secretly sorting defensemen by height and that he would just sort of fall under the radar because, like you said, he is typically considered undersized for a defenseman. But for the Nashville Predators, not only has Nick Blakenburg stepped up defensively on a team where it's been a struggle at times defensively, he is the jack of all trades and pretty darn good at all of them. And we've seen that. You know, you've got somebody who's coming in, kills penalties, not just as a defender, but hey, did you need a forward to step in and do some penalty killing? My name's Nick Blakenburg. I do that. Quarterbacking the power play, we saw him do that some last season, come back in this season and be kind of a reliable guy on the second unit as well. I'm with you. I'm like, a fifth?
Right. And I mean, you added even more to it that I agreed. There's just like, Colorado comes back with this and says, hey, this is what's going on. And it's kind of like, well, maybe you should just hold on to him then if you're not going to get that much out of it. And just, again, he's the guy that stepped up this year. I mean, just you expected a lot of guys with, Perbix and Haig coming in, and then maybe Shea's going to have a better year and all these what ifs. And then Nick Blakenburg's the one that just shoots out of it. And it's just, just a guy that stepped up. He's a workhorse. And I at the beginning of the deadline and before all this, I was kind of like, he might be one of the guys that's on the way out the door. I saw the Maple Leafs talking about it. However, the Maple Leaf fan base seems to feel like everything revolves around them. So I'm trying not to put that out in there. But he was kind of hinting that it was going to be, especially with the UFA as well, that he might be on the way out. But yeah, like you said, with the return they got from Colorado, you would be thinking in the GM's chair, being like, no, let's
just keep
let's
him.
Open it to other people, or we're gonna keep him. Like, give it something better. But I don't know. I'm not the GM, so my mentality might be a little different than what Barry Trotz is doing. But yeah, it's an interesting move.
It's an interesting move. I think it's an interesting move for the Predators right now, timing wise as well. Because let's talk about what we have defensively going. Of course, Roman Josi, Brady Shea, Nick Perbix. You've got Haig, Barron, Wilsby. Wilsby is out. He is week to week, which you hate to see, but that's the reality of where they are at. Now you lose Nick Blakenburg. And again, is he Roman Josi? No, but he was a darn good Nick Blakenburg for this team. And a great story. Waited his turn to get another opportunity this season to get on the ice. But I love what we have seen from him. But the question now becomes, what happens now on the blue line? And here is what I'm going to say. And again, just so you all know, we are pulling up Twitter as we are recording.
So vital right now.
Because one of my questions is, who's going to step in? Are they going to do the Andreas Englund, which they did earlier this season, or good friends? Will we see Ryan Ufko? These are the things I want. These are the things I want to know.
Oh yes. I mean, and you said my trigger word right there, which is Ryan Ufko. I mean, if you listen to the Locked On Predators podcast, which I've happily taken over for Ann, and one of the big things I've been on is, why in the world is Ryan Ufko not in Nashville? He is a AHL All-Star. At one point, he was leading the league in defenseman points. I think he's second or first still. He's got to be still in the top 5 at this point.
Yep.
But you're kind of at the point right now where, is it just his height that's limiting him from getting a call-up? Because, I mean, man, what more does this kid need to do? And I say kid, I mean, he's a little bit older. He's been on NHL teams before. But, I mean, he's a stud down in Milwaukee. He's
absolutely
just doing
incredible.
Everything. And then we have Andreas Englund on the other side. I won't get too crazy about this, but it's just, it feels like a whole Barry Trotz thing of like, oh, you're bringing up for him for the size and the height, what else he's bringing. And then it's just the other part of it, too. Like, okay, he comes up, okay, he's scratched. And it's just, you bring these guys up over and over again, they're continuously scratched. And, I hope this opens up a gap for Ufko to come in so bad.
Yeah, so we're keeping an eye on that. I would not be surprised at all to see Ryan Ufko. Not only has he been great when you're looking at what's going on in Milwaukee, but in the AHL, Ryan Ufko has been one of those players in the top of the league when it comes to defensemen and goals and points. Like, he was named an All-Star for the Milwaukee Admirals, and it's like, could it please?
Please, my Lord.
I'm going to need somebody to go to BNA, and I just want you to stand there as the new nonstop flight from Milwaukee to Nashville lands.
Watch the boards.
Watch
the gates. Any flights that are coming in from Milwaukee, y'all got to stand outside those gates, be there, greet him, and just keep an eye out because, oh, my God, I don't know what more this man needs to do to get this opportunity. My goodness.
Yeah, and this is a great opportunity because, and we're going to dig into this because we are in what appears to be sell mode, clearly, and we're going to talk some more about McCarron and Smith here in just a minute. But if this is where the Nashville Predators are headed, if this is kind of the decision that Barry Trotz has made, this is a really great opportunity for Ryan Ufko because if you start him out at the beginning of the year, if you bring him up, even say a month ago, the expectations are going to be, would have been very different. And this may mean, and let me be clear, I don't think there's anyone of the players in the locker room going, well, we're not going to try for the postseason. They're still going to compete.
Yeah.
But I think it takes some of the pressure off of a player like a Ryan Ufko. And again, for those of you who maybe don't get a chance to follow the Milwaukee Admirals, always keep your eye on that because you can talk about a teardown and a rebuild and a trade, but if you don't know what you have in Milwaukee, it's very hard to make great decisions. And Ryan Ufko is one of those players in Milwaukee that, while I hate to see Nick Blakenburg go, if this opens the opportunity for him to get some consistent time in the NHL, I may be able to sleep okay.
There used to be a show on Nickelodeon. It was really weird where these people compete in this contest, and there'd be a frame of the shape they had to make, and they had to fill it out.
Yes.
Or else they get knocked into the water.
Yes.
There was a big Nick Blakenburg shape in this, and Ryan Ufko, I mean, he could win the whole game show. They're getting into that frame right now. He's perfect for this frame to fit in just as a workhorse guy. So, I mean, the math is mathing here.
I love
Absolutely.
This. Yes. This will make me feel slightly better about Nick Blakenburg. Of course, not breaking news, but news of note. Crazy night last night for the Nashville Predators. Had a game. Michael McCarron, a healthy scratch for roster management. And then we have the whole Cole Smith 3-second one shift. Let me tell you something. If the NHL really was about a 3-second one shift game, I would kill it.
Right.
I could play hockey for 3 seconds like Cole Smith.
And the contracts and the money you'd make just to dip. It's like dipping your toe in the water, dip your toe in the ice, come back onto the boards. Boom. Paycheck.
Like, even though I have a bad hip, I feel like I could totally have stepped in for Cole Smith's performance.
In the 3-second league,
the 3-second performance. So we have McCarron. He has been traded to Minnesota. We've got Cole Smith traded to Vegas. We're going to dive in the next segment a little bit more about those trades and what they tell us. But just overall, real quick, Jack, impression of those moves, and were you surprised that those were kind of what kickstarted Nashville making some moves at this deadline?
The Cole Smith situation was very strange, but I wasn't so surprised that he left out on the fourth line, or someone had to go. And when we're talking about, like, cutting off the fat and making a team push a little bit more, Cole Smith I thought was going to be the one to go a little bit more. McCarron surprised me a little. Emma Lingen made a really good point on the Locked on Predators podcast episode I host, where she said that McCarron really, you're going to know what you get out of him every night, and he provides consistency. I'm like, you know what? That makes sense, and this team needs it really bad. And these trade rumors come up every year about McCarron.
Yes.
I didn't think they were going to do it, and they went forward and did it. So, I mean, the McCarron one was a little bit more surprising. Smith was not as much. The way they went about it was.
Yeah,
and then
crazy.
Blankenburg, with that, just to add on to that, is just like, I'm just surprised about the way they went about it, and it seems like that kind of signals a sell-off a little bit more.
Yeah. Coming up, we're going to talk some more about the McCarron and the Smith deals. We're going to dig into the details of those, tell you what we see happening next for the Predators in those specific roles. We're also going to talk about what could happen next and who is not making eye contact with Barry Trotz when he walks around Bridgestone Arena. First, I want to tell you about Tennessee Valley Paving. Tennessee Valley Paving is a third-generation family-owned and operated company serving Middle Tennessee since 1957. They handle everything from driveway and parking lot paving to municipal and commercial projects, and even specialty work like tennis courts and aviation pads. They're bonded, hold an unlimited license, and ready to serve your paving and sealing needs. Call Tennessee Valley Paving today at 615-794-2351 or visit TennesseeValleyPaving.com. Tennessee Valley Paving, serving the region with quality you can count on. Welcome back to Penalty Box Radio, live on 102.5. If you are looking for the best spot to catch every game, you need to head over to East Nashville's favorite sports bar, Beyond the Edge. With over 30 TVs and 25 beers on tap, you will never miss a moment. They've got you covered for lunch, dinner, and late night, serving food all the way until 2 a.m. Plus, enjoy happy hour every weekday from 2 to 6, and don't miss 2-for-1 Sundays. That's Beyond the Edge, 112 South 11th Street in East Nashville, your home for every game. So if you go to Beyond the Edge to watch a game, there are 2 players, well, now 3 players, you're not going to see back on the Predators roster. We just talked about Nick Blakenburg. Recently learned that the Predators traded him for a 2027 fifth-round pick. Michael McCarron, Cole Smith, traded yesterday in interesting and weird fashion. You mentioned before the break a little bit more surprised about Michael McCarron.
Right.
And I have to say, I agree with you. I also understand why he is the type of player that contending teams look at and say, I think that's a piece we might want to add. Because here's what's real. Most contending teams have their top 6, have their top 4 defensemen. And what they're looking for is what is a depth player that can come on this roster and step in and give us just a little bit more. Michael McCarron is that guy.
Right. I mean, he fills out that build a lot of these modern Stanley Cup winning teams we see have to have this. And the big thing is you need to find this balance between physicality and dynamic offense. The Panthers have had that. The Golden Knights have had that. The Avalanche have had that in past years. Tampa, you could go down the line. These teams not only know how to score the puck, but they know how to take hits. They know how to deliver hits. And yes, Michael McCarron's not a offensive all-star, but on a bottom four and those type of teams, he fills out exactly what they need, and just a guy that's able to deliver big hits, stand up for your all-stars, especially in the PK, or maybe in some world he does get some time on the power play. But just a bigger guy that's going to be able to withstand durability, I guess is the word, in a deep playoff run. That's what he builds out, and I'm not surprised that Minnesota picked him up here, because this is a team that finally wants to make the push into being an actual contender, and he adds that aspect of being big and durable to this roster, and maybe being a guy that could help out at Quinn Hughes when if Hughes is being shoved around a little bit more. Maybe McCarron needs to be the guy that dropped the gloves in that situation, and you could argue that a little bit with Cole Smith and the Vegas Golden Knights as well. But McCarron, just with his size and what he brings to the team, he, like you said, he fits out that profile of what a lot of these contenders are looking for.
Yes. This morning on Robbie and Rex Road, Robbie Stanley took quite an enthusiastic victory lap, because he has been saying for a while that a Michael McCarron could get you a second-round pick, and he did, 2028 second-round pick. And I think there are a lot of people that are like, Michael McCarron and a second-round pick? But this is one of those times where statistics tell you the truth, except when they're lying. And if you look at the stat sheet for Michael McCarron, you might be totally underwhelmed.
Right.
And say, why would a contending team want a guy who doesn't particularly score goals? But Michael McCarron does so many things very well in that role. And again, reliability. This is somebody who has a 52.8% face-off circle success rate. Talked about the penalty kill. Right. Minnesota has a pretty good penalty kill. I think that they rank 11th off the top of my head.
I'm solid, yeah.
So they're solid already. But if you think, hey, there's a guy who's got another aspect to him, McCarron is one of the Predators' best penalty killers, along with Cole Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think there is a lot to Michael McCarron that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Here's the other thing that I will say, and I'm curious what your take is on this, Jack. Being in the locker room, one of the things that I think has been consistently underrated about Michael McCarron is that he, in a lot of ways, to me, is a bit of the heart of that locker room. And, I think it's a close group. They'll tell you they're a close group. They really wanted to make a push for the playoffs and stay together. I think McCarron, Stamkos said it at the break in the game, it's like a gut punch, because McCarron is that protective instinct, rally the troops, guy for the locker room. I'm interested in what that dynamic will be.
Right. One of the things I referenced last night that just, fulfills that and answers that to really just soundly was after the Predators picked up that big overtime win over the Oilers in January, there was a question asked about, a win like this, and it was to McCarron, a win like this, what does this do for you guys in the stance of the deadline? And what do you say to a general manager that might want to shell off the team? And McCarron goes, and it kind of, in hindsight, it's kind of heartbreaking to look at. But he says,
it is.
I can't answer that question, but all I know is that this group wants to stick together. And I feel like if we keep winning, we can make their job harder, them being the general manager and management. If we stick together, we can continue winning. And then he ends it with, and it's so sad, I believe we can stick together and we'll stay together. And now he's the one that got traded. You saw it from just the reactions after the Blue Jackets game of, it seemed that Andrew Brunette was almost choked up talking about it towards the end of it.
He loved that.
Very short post game from him, and he was pretty upset. Roman Josi, just the captain, very straightforward, but obviously very solemn as well. And just it is heartbreaking, because these are guys that they might not again be all-stars on the ice, but they play such a massive character role in the locker room. And in a lot of these teams too, it's these enforcers, these big guys on the fourth line, stuff like that. They have the biggest heart on the rosters.
Yes. He really was a kind of a heartbeat for this team. I think it's interesting too. Going to be reunited with John Hines.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see kind of how that goes. Also reunited with Vinny Hinostroza, who he played with a little bit, and Yakov Trenin. So, he's not wandering into completely unfamiliar territory.
Right.
I like this move for Minnesota. Hate it a little bit for Nashville.
Right.
But I think it's a smart move. Let's look at Cole Smith goes to Vegas for a 2028 third-round pick and defensive prospect Christopher Sedoff. And again, we talked about that brief Ann Kimmel length shift that he had. But I loved when he came off the ice for those 3 seconds. The team all, stick tapped for him. They knew what was coming. They didn't know where. Going to Vegas now. This is a big trade, but let's be real. The biggest deal with Vegas is that we got Jack Williams. Okay. Because in case you didn't know, Jack used to cover the Vegas Golden Knights. Yeah. and I don't know what the trade was. I don't know the details. But Jack now is here covering for Nashville. I'm interested in your take. What does a move like that do for Vegas? What are they looking for from Cole Smith?
Right. I think Nashville picked up more of that trade when I arrived here versus what Vegas got, because I don't think they got too much after that. But no, it's good that you asked that. I was telling you before the podcast, too. I was actually on one of the TV stations in Vegas, and one of the TV reporters contacted me, and she's like, when I saw this trade, you were the first person to reach out to, because I don't know how many people are doing this between these two teams as well. But the big thing with Vegas is that it's going to be a prove me moment for Cole Smith out there, because yes, he's a depth piece and talking about the guy that's going to be on the wing there in the fourth line, but with Vegas and these Bruce Cassidy teams, and as we talked about, to that model of contenders and all of that, they are getting points and scoring from these fourth line guys. They're getting all different production from these fourth line guys. And I said here, I was like, Cole Smith needs to find his balance on this Vegas team specifically of being a guy that's going to be a great penalty killer, is going to take hits, is going to drop the gloves when he needs to, but at the same time is going to need to find ways to score the puck, or else he's going to end up in Henderson. Because that's the way it's going to work out. Vegas is the way I phrase it, they're a very cold team. Anytime anyone is not playing well, anytime somebody's getting too old, hence what happened here with Jonathan Marchessault. The reason he came here is because Vegas didn't want to give him an extension because he'd be too old by the time that extension happened. With Nick Hague, they were looking to get Nick Hague off the papers for a while, and he came here. If something's going wrong there, they will get rid of it completely.
You are dead to them. You are dead to them.
It's very cold there, especially being Vegas, so that makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if he doesn't prove himself, he might go down in Henderson, and that puts the pressure on him a little bit more. The best example I can think of is there's a guy over in Vegas, Keegan Colasar, who embodies what they want from their bottom six as a whole. He's a guy who's going to stand up for anybody, drop his gloves with anybody, but he's an offensive threat there. And this is the role that Cole Smith is going to have to adapt to on this roster. It's really going to be a good challenge for him, and it's going to be interesting to see how he steps up to it. And if he starts playing well, I will say it might sting for the Predators fans to see him start putting in the points a little bit more. But that's, from my experience and what I've seen from this Vegas team and what they have out there and the management as well, this is what he, in my opinion, is going to be tasked with when he arrives to Vegas.
Yes, and I love that you mentioned the Henderson Silver Knights, the AHL affiliate for the Vegas Golden Knights. I love what they did there with the golden and the silver. Love that. Although I will say, I get confused when I watch the Henderson Silver Knights. I'm like, y'all are supposed to be gold.
Right.
Their color wheel is off. But Predators did get back a Finnish defenseman, Christopher Sedoff, 24 years old. He has played 145 AHL games, all with Henderson Silver Knights. Listed as 6'1", Predators love their defensemen, the stat of inches over 6 feet. Now, I don't know that this is, anybody who is going to leapfrog Tanner Molendyk or Ryan Ufko. For the love, Ryan Ufko. Come on. Or, some of the other defensemen that they have in Milwaukee. But I think this is a great piece. Fun fact, I just wanted to throw this out, doing a little research on him. He played a couple of seasons with the Red Deer Rebels in the WHL. He had a great career in the WHL.
Really? Okay.
And he played with Kaylin Lind.
Really?
A couple seasons with Kaylin Lind. Yeah. So I think, just kind of a fun fact. If anybody's looking for a little Nashville Prospects trivia this weekend, I got your back. When I look at these two, I will say this. I think Cole Smith is a little bit easier to replace, and we're going to dive into the why of that coming up in the next segment. But you look at players like an Ozzy Weisblatt. You look at finally Zachary LaRue in the 615.
Right.
I've only been asking for this all my life.
You've been big on Zachary LaRue. I've been on Ryan Ufko. We've been just, it's felt like we're their campaign managers a little bit.
I know it does. It does a little bit. It does. And maybe our dreams will come true this week with both of them.
Yeah.
Depending on what they do with Ryan Ufko. But, I think that there are some players, and again, let's talk about, real quick, Reed Schaefer, maybe another player that we get back up here, to slot in with this new opening with Cole Smith. So I think there's going to be some interesting competition there in that role. And I think maybe some of the things that will help these individual players will be the small things like the penalty killing, the physicality. So I think those are things to watch for as you're looking at Weisblatt, as you're looking at LaRue, as you're looking at potentially Reed Schaefer as well. So a lot going on, a lot of adjustments, but wait, friends, there could be more. Coming up in the next segment, we are going to talk about what may be next. What have these three moves told us about what is going on in Barry Trotz's mind? Also, what time is Barry Trotz's bedtime? Because I need to know what time we can stop scrolling on Twitter. We're going to talk about that in our next segment. But first, I want to tell you about Verbero Selects. It is a premier youth hockey organization dedicated to developing elite athletes through high-level training, competitive play, and character-driven leadership. Their spring and summer 2026 programs are designed for players who want to elevate their game, compete at a high level, and grow both on and off the ice. Players receive actual coaching and a fully organized spring hockey experience from start to finish. They honor the traditions of the game while building athletes defined not just by skill, but by discipline, toughness, purpose, and leadership. Verbero Selects will compete in elite tournaments this spring and summer, including events in Nashville and Denver, with flexible registration options available. Each registered player receives a complete uniform package, including a jersey, socks, pant shell, and performance t-shirt. For full schedules, age groups, pricing options, and registration details, visit verberoselects.com. That's VERBERO selects.com. This segment of Penalty Box Radio Live is brought to you by Green Ventures. Green Ventures is your local family-owned landscaping company dedicated to making your outdoor space look its best. From lawn care and seasonal cleanups to full landscape design, they bring the tools, the team, and the know-how to get the job done right. Whether it's your home, your business, or your neighborhood, Green Ventures keeps Middle Tennessee green and growing. Head over to greenventureslandscaping.com today and let Green Ventures bring your yard to life. I got to second that, Jack, because Green Ventures actually redid our backyard. New deck, beautiful new patio. Okay. And let me tell you, at 2:01 on Friday afternoon, I'm going to be in my zero gravity chair in my beautiful new backyard because finally the trade deadline will be over. Do you have like sports media thumb? Like, because we're just constantly scrolling, making sure we aren't missing anything.
I mean, between the scrolling and then I have the watch on all day, and I have all different things that are buzzing on it, and then anytime the trades happen, I can't get my eyes off the app, so I'm refreshing. Yeah.
Yep. I took a pre-show nap today, and every time I rolled over, I thought, no, I got to check my phone because Nashville's in it, friends. Yeah, Nashville's in it.
Yeah, the kind of area where you're kind of falling asleep a little bit more, and you have that jump up. You're like, I
gotta check. What? I gotta check. What's going on? Going on? So we know, of course, now Nick Blakenburg. He is headed out. Do want to shout out Nick Keyser. Nick Keyser just tweeted out, ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Ufko is coming to the 615. So if you hear a Yahoo at Bridgestone Arena tomorrow night, that's just going to be Jack Williams sitting up in the media section saying, finally!
I mean, we were coming back on the air here, I had to quote Nick's tweet with the Shawshank Redemption tweet of the guy in the rain. And it's like, Ufko to Nashville. Oh, my God. I didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen.
I know. I'm very excited about Ryan Ufko getting an opportunity up here. So I love that. But again, we talked about McCarron and Smith. What else could happen? Because here's what's real. The train has left the station.
Right.
And I think that this locker room knows Barry Trotz making the moves that he has made, making 3 of them so far. Hard emphasis on the so far.
Knock on wood, yeah.
Yeah, and we keep, we're scrolling during the commercial breaks to make sure we're not missing anything. There's a message to this locker room, and I think that Barry Trotz is saying, hey, we're not all in going for it. My question for you, do you think if Barry Trotz wasn't stepping away, maybe he would have let this team give it a longer shot? How much of these moves do you think are because Trotz is setting up the next guy? And if he wasn't leaving, do you think this deadline would look different?
That's a really good question.
I know. These are the things I wonder. I'm like, Barry Trotz, what are you thinking?
It's like I'll make a SpongeBob reference here about what Patrick's kind of sitting there in one episode going, the inner thoughts of my mind are an enigma. And it's like a thing of a carton of milk, and it's just the carton of milk falling over. Now, I don't think that's happening in Barry Trotz's mind.
No.
But the way I kind of see it now is I've had like 6 names in my head before going into this trade deadline. Mm-hmm. And the way I'm kind of going on it now is he was kind of at a crossroads where it's either shell off everything or buffer up, trim off the fat, build up this team potentially for a run. But then we're at the place right now with that kind of side of the road where, okay, these gaps are here. How in the world is he going to get filled up? Because the prospects that are coming back, or what you're trading for is coming back, are draft picks and a guy that's probably going to be in Milwaukee.
Right.
My whole thing with it now is, I kind of lean towards that now, the retooling, that we're going into a harder rebuild now. But Smith, I expected to go. McCarron, I did have on that list. Blakenburg, I had on that list. And then the next ones I have are Bunting and Halla coming up. Yeah. And the way I am with it, like I just said, with like what they're getting back kind of says to me, they're going for a hard rebuild. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, these names are kind of ticking off the board and we expected them to go. My eyebrows aren't going to raise higher, I guess, until I see one that wasn't on that list. So if we see I think the big one's O'Reilly. If we see him go, then I'm going to be like, all right, we are fully on this path. But as of now, I feel like it's in a weird gray area, and somehow, some way, in my opinion, I think he's still standing at this crossroads with, you're getting rid of the guys that we expected to get rid of in order to tool up for a playoff, but at the same time, what you're getting back is just, that signals a rebuild. So it feels like two sides of the coin at once, and I do not know how you do that. Yeah. When flipping a coin, and it's kind of just sitting at its edge.
It's on the edge.
And right now, I'm kind of at the point where I'm kind of waiting for it to fall to one side. Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think Ryan O'Reilly tells you if Ryan O'Reilly moves, that tells you everything that you need to know about where Barry Trotz's mind is as he is stepping away for the general manager. Interesting little tidbit about Ryan O'Reilly. For anybody who watched the Columbus game, this is what happens when Ann makes plans, okay? I do nothing but hockey. And then last night I was like, they're on the road. I'm going to go see a musical. And I'm at the musical, and Cole Smith and Michael McCarron, and then I get out of the musical and I get a text from my son, Ryan O'Reilly is injured. And I'm like, this is all too much. I just wanted people to sing and dance for me.
I thought I was watching I don't know if you're watching a tragedy or anything like that. I thought I was watching the theatrics. Yeah. I thought I was seeing this drama on the stage. What's going on?
And now it's all real life. So Ryan O'Reilly left the game cut near the eye. Here's what I find interesting, as a former 8th grade girl who knows how to read too much into everything. Ryan O'Reilly injured, left the game, and then after the game, probably before the Zamboni had done its final lap to wrap things up, the Predators released a statement. For those who are concerned about Ryan O'Reilly, we expect that he is going to be okay. And they went on to say, he'll be reevaluated here in Nashville today. We haven't gotten any more official statement. But, I don't want to be that girl, but I'm going to be that girl. In general, the National Hockey League and also the, Nashville Predators as a part of that, so tight-lipped about injuries. If a player has a hangnail, don't you ask which hand it's on? They do not give that information. So when it starts out, for those who are concerned, parentheses, all the general managers, about Ryan O'Reilly. So that makes me think, maybe there's something there. And here's what I will say. If Ryan O'Reilly is traded, and there's a lot. I know people will get excited over the haul back, but there's a lot going on. But I will also say, if you then also trade UFA Eric Halla. The Nashville Predators down the middle will have lost McCarron, Halla, and Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah.
The vacuum that we all knew was there when it comes to centers for the Predators will be cavernous.
It will be desolate.
What do you do?
Oh.
No pressure, Jack. What do you do about that?
Oh,
what would you do?
God. Well, I mean, at that point, you're just at a full rebuild.
Correct.
I mean, you're getting rid of Ryan O'Reilly, he doesn't have just a significance on the stat sheet.
Yes.
And Ann can tell you this, too. He is so significant in this locker room and on the ice. We see it in practices. We see it in games. I mean, a guy that is willing to, even if he's not playing, if he's playing well that night, but the rest of the team isn't, he's going to put the blame fully on
himself. Yes.
And I mean, if he leaves, that's going to fully signal that this team is in full rebuild. I'm like, all right, if I was in that GM chair doing this, I'd be sitting there like, all right, we're in full rebuild. Send in the Admirals.
Yes.
Let's bring more guys up. Let's work them into the system. If you need to bring some guys off the wing, if you need a little bit more veteran experience, like I think, Stamkos has been here and there, but mostly at center this year. But if you need to move some guys down the middle a little bit more, try some guys down a little bit more that are veterans, and then just start moving this pipeline from Milwaukee, gosh darn it. I mean, that's been the big thing this year is that it's been almost, and granted coming down from the northern Midwest, it's been frozen, thawing out.
There you go.
That water has not moved until now. All of a sudden, we're starting to see prospects start coming in a little bit more. But if O'Reilly goes, then you really, 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 even if Trotz is on the way out, you really need to commit to this rebuild right now. And this general manager, the new one who's coming in, he's going to do whatever he wants, but you're clearly putting this team in a position that, okay, I'm leaving this for a general manager to start over from the beginning.
Yes.
Get the prospects in now and get this rolling right now.
Yes, absolutely. Coming up, we're going to tell you a couple of names. We're going to give you actual names that Jack and I...
We got the receipts.
We're going to give you the names of the people if there is a hollow spot down the center in the lineup. People we think you may hear. We're also going to prep you for an on-ice sporting event coming up that you absolutely cannot miss. We're going to tell you about that coming up in the next segment. First, want to let you know when it comes to barbecue in East Nashville, there is nothing that hits like Drifter's Barbecue. Smoked slow and low, their pulled pork, ribs, and wings bring real smokehouse flavor. And at Drifter's, it is not just about the food, it's the music. They've got live music every night, from Writers' Night on Mondays to Bluegrass Sundays on their covered, heated patio. Great food, great music, and the perfect East Nashville vibe. Drift over to Drifter's Barbecue at 1008B Woodland Street in East Nashville. Slow, low, and local. Welcome back to Penalty Box Radio live on 102.5 The Game. Tennessee Valley Paving has been family-owned and operated since 1957, now in its third generation. From residential driveways to commercial lots, city roadwork, and specialty paving like tennis courts and aviation pads, they do it all. Plus, they offer sealing to protect your investment. Need paving you can trust? Call 615-794-2351 or visit TennesseeValleyPaving.com. Tennessee Valley Paving, trusted locally, built to last. All right, Jack, live show. No pressure. So I just want everyone to know that as of 8:47 and 34 seconds, the Nashville Predators haven't done anything else.
Yes.
We did our final break scrolling. So anything that happens after that, it's not on Jack and I to keep you informed.
We're climbing without a harness right now.
That's right. Like, we're just going to see what happens.
Yeah.
Circling back, we talked about this just briefly and want to just touch on this with you again real quick. Ryan O'Reilly, I agree with you. I think if that trade is made, that's the coin falling. What do you think the Predators could get for a Ryan O'Reilly?
Yeah, the big thing that Barry Trotz said earlier this year was it needs to be a 1-for-1. And my whole thing is, all right, well, who's that going to be?
Who you giving us?
Who are you giving us? Who are you going to reach out and take at this point? Because it's in a weird place right now with the trade deadline where not a lot of teams are making so many moves because the standings are so close right now. And I mean, I think that's why it took the Predators a second to get moving here. But I don't know who it will be, but it has to be someone of that caliber, that leadership, and just being able to step up and just fill that role completely.
Yeah.
Like, there's not going to be any fall off or anything like that. It's going to be stable right there. And that's what's going to happen with Ryan O'Reilly, and that's what's going to take. It's going to have to be a 1-for-1, and Barry Trotz said that straightforward.
Yeah, and it's got to be a big ask. It's just simply got to be a big ask if you want Ryan O'Reilly. The thing I will point out, and I know this will get some bowels and an uproar, but I'm going to say it anyway. You don't have to trade Ryan O'Reilly right now. You can trade him next season. Now, is he playing well enough that this may be the highest value you can get for him? Yes, but don't trade him right now for less than what you could trade him for next season, because you don't have to. He's still got another year on his contract. And again, very hard to quantify Ryan O'Reilly's value in the locker room. You have to see it to believe it. He's really something. We also mentioned Eric Halla. This is somebody who went into the Olympics and then came out of the Olympics with very different trade value. We saw you, Eric Halla. We saw you in your bronze medal doing those things. If Eric Halla, Ryan O'Reilly, and we know Michael McCarron is gone, as we said, you are left with the visible cavern in the center position. Jack, who you bringing up? What are you doing?
I mean, you know who it is. You know it's got to be.
Say the thing.
We gotta get Jake Lucchini up here. I mean, he's the guy in Milwaukee right now. And just the big thing that's been going on in Milwaukee is that there is so much good happening down there right now. You have a lot of prospects going. You have a lot of guys that have been in the AHL for a while that are doing really well down there. And Barry Trotz is like, I'm going to pick that one. And you're like, and everyone's like, why?
Yeah.
Why is he coming up? And then you're like, okay, this is a bigger player. That's why they're coming size-wise.
Yeah.
But Lucchini has got to come up. He's going to be the guy down the middle right now. He's having a great year in Milwaukee. It's the next step in just feeding up the pipeline, and it makes sense. The whole thing about a lot of these guys, especially with us waiting with Ufko and LaRue, I mean, those guys make sense coming up. And the next move to make sense would be Lucchini. And just the year he's having, he's playing just great hockey down the middle, and this is the guy that you want to slot right into a bottom 6 spot, absolutely, and get him acquainted, and maybe he could jump up even more. Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think a lot of people may not recognize that name or may be surprised if you're not watching Milwaukee hockey.
Course, yeah.
But Jake Lucchini, 51 games played, 13 goals, 38 points. Of note, I'm just making conversation here, people. I am not speculating. I am not reporting. I'm just sharing information I know. Jake Lucchini was a healthy scratch Tuesday morning at the school day game that the Admirals had. Now, maybe he had a stomach virus, which if he did, he better get rid of that before he comes here because I don't do that. But Jake Lucchini, just everybody kind of keep your ears tuned. Maybe not the glamorous pick, but that's somebody, Fedor Svechkov. Svechkov back in Milwaukee, and getting some confidence, getting some ice time. He's played 10 games, 5 goals, 8 points. Here's what I will say. He has shown up in big moments in Milwaukee, and you can see him playing with some confidence. Fedor Svechkov, would you bring him back up?
Yeah, I mean, that white stick magic must be working out well in Milwaukee. But, I've been so, I guess, strange with him this year because the way I was on about it was the Predators really just put a lot down on him and just they turned up the pressure cooker so high on him at the beginning of the year. And he's just saying, hey, you're going to be the one to get Steven Stamkos going again. And
no pressure.
It just took it just never worked. It did not work for him. Stamkos eventually got going, but I think that just moved him up into a better line and just moving him back down the middle. But, I mean, with Svechkov, they kept him up in Nashville for way too long, and then finally came the decision to move him to Milwaukee, and then the decision to bring him back up. My whole thing, and this was kind of, I had a similar mindset with Matthew Wood. It was like, yes, he's been in big moments in Milwaukee, Svechkov has, but my whole thing was like, is it too soon? Does he need to go down there and marinate for a little bit longer, have him build up his confidence? Because Barry Trotz has been very fast on the trigger this year when it's come up to bringing guys back up into Nashville, specifically with Matthew Wood. He sent on him at the Olympic break, and then Trotz was like, all right, it's time to come back up. And then granted, Wood had a really good game coming back up after, and I was like, all right, fine, that proves out. But with Svechkov and a guy that, like, you might want to leave him down there for a little bit longer, like you said earlier, just build up his confidence, play well, and just, I don't know. I'm really interested. I mean, you need the depth down the middle right now.
Yes.
But I mean,
you need a body with a pulse that can skate forwards and backwards.
Right. And I mean,
that may be what they're left with if they move O'Reilly and Holla. You got to have a guy with a pulse that can skate forward and backward, and then have some skill on top of that.
Yeah, it's the big thing with him is it's going to be really interesting to see how he does these next few games, and if they should have, like I said, they should have just kept him down to Milwaukee just a little bit longer, or they're pulling him out of whatever too early.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just going to be very interesting to watch, and who they're going to pair him up with too.
100%. Yeah. I think that matters a lot. We talked about Ryan O'Reilly. Will he be here this time next week? Will he not be here this time next week? And I think the O'Reilly decision, Elliot Friedman talked about. Steven Stamkos had said, I want to be a part of the solution. The different situation could be if this is like hard rebuild. So something to keep an eye on until 2 p.m. on Friday afternoon is Steven Stamkos, Jonathan Marchessault, if a Ryan O'Reilly move is made. Also, keep your eye for, we talked about this just briefly, Michael Bunting, another UFA. He would be, I hate to say it because I like him. Not only is he scrappy on the ice, but he is mouthy.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, as a girl who loves Jesus but swears a little, I love that about Michael Bunting. But he is one of those pieces a contending team would say, hey, you want to come over here and score some goals and play in the playoffs. So still moving pieces, a lot going on. Do want to pivot real quick.
All right.
Because there is an on-ice event kicking off this week.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the USA women won gold at the Olympics. USA men gold at the Olympics. Dramatic fashion.
Oh, yeah.
Big deal. The deal could get bigger, friends, because this Friday, the Paralympics kick off. And if you do not know about para ice hockey, I need you to dial in because Team USA is competing at the Paralympics. And if you loved the spice of USA versus Canada, friends, we may be driving down that same road. And Jack, you have actually tried.
I have, yeah.
Para ice hockey. It's also known as sledge hockey, para ice hockey. Tell us a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, so I played in high school, and there was one time up in Illinois I played, and there was a time where we paired up. I think it was after one of our games or practices that one of the local team was like, hey, do you guys want to come out and try sledge hockey? And we're like, yeah, sure. I'm like, oh, watching it on TV, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to be great at this. It's so hard.
So difficult.
It's harder. It's so much harder than regular hockey. And if you don't know how to skate or play, that's already hard. You have to get on the sled. That's just one blade. And then you get on the sled, you have to balance yourself. And then you have these picks and you're like, oh, it's easy to like move. No, it's so hard to, you want to navigate yourself through the ice. And then, oh my God, stick handling with one hand. It's very impressive how fast they move, how good they are, especially how good the United States is. Because trying it out for the first time, it's really, really difficult.
Yeah. A lot of the NHL players have partnered and tried it out, and they're like, yep, nope.
It's so hard.
It's so hard. But I just want it to be on everybody's radar. Team USA kicks off on Saturday. They'll be playing Italy. Watch the Paralympic para ice hockey competition.
Yes.
Because the rivalry between USA and Canada is nuts. So I want to put that on your radar. We'll circle back around to para ice hockey. We will circle back around next week to whatever the Nashville Predators roster looks like then too. Thanks so much for listening to Penalty Box Radio Live, presented by Tennessee Valley Paving, Beyond the Edge, East Nashville, Boston Commons, Drifters Barbecue, Verbero Selects, and Timber and Blade. We will see you next Wednesday night.